I'm recording this to my computer, and this meeting will be posted at, on YouTube at a later time. So I'm going to ask at this time for all guests to please put your contact information into the chat, and so that after the meeting, I will send everyone a link to the YouTube video and, of course, some information about our club. Tonight, we are here for a really great purpose. We're here as an open house to honor distinguished Toastmaster Bill Moylan. Bill, if he earns any more distinguished Toastmasters degrees, he won't even be able to count it on both hands and both feet. He'll have to get his wife to stand next to him and hold up an extra finger, and I won't say which one. So Bill is not only a distinguished Toastmaster, he's also been a wonderful mentor. And in fact, today I would like to also recognize his mentee, Anthony Gore, who has completed his level 1 on Pathways. So let's all show our appreciation for Anthony with some applause. Anthony, you don't know how many Toastmasters don't even make it to level 1. You've succeeded. You planted your foot firmly and ready to move forward. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Great. I would now like to ask I just want to make sure everyone knows this is going to be a little bit of a modified Toastmaster meeting. We are going to have word of the day, multiple speakers, table topics, and then we'll have a chance for Bill to give his rebuttal thoughts. I'm calling that part Revenge of the Roasted. Afterwards, we will have a general evaluation, but all the evaluations of the speeches will be delivered to the speakers by email after the speech. So during the evaluation portion of the meeting, we're going to do something that's unique to our club, which is a table topics evaluation. And then we'll have our meeting reports. Are there any questions? Would anyone like for me to place the agenda into the chat? I did that earlier, but I'd be happy to do it again. Okay, let me do that. Let me just drag that over. All right. Today's speakers will be Vera Johnson, Jerome Mabin, Craig Fulton, Bill Liverman, and Jelena Verkler. So we're going to start today's agenda with the word master for today.
Matt,
Yes?
you're fine.
Oh, okay, we're going to start with our word master for the day. Our word master for today is our own Toastmaster from Metro Masters, Toastmaster Sheila Buswell.
Thank you. Thank you, Karen. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. As your word master tonight, my role is to help expand our vocabulary and challenge ourselves to new word during the meeting. So the word today is, I just learned how you say this word in America because it's said differently. And I was raised with a different, this word being said differently. The word is macabre, spelt M-A-C-A-B-R-E. And the origin is French. In British English, it said macabre, which is more similar to the pronunciation in French. So I don't know the exact way people say it, but the meaning is the same. Its definition, it's an adjective, and the meaning is disturbing or horrifying because of its involvement with death or injury. I picked this word because of it's Halloween week. I thought it was appropriate. I did not know that the way a word was said could change based off of the geography of where you learn the word. Um, the example I have, I'm going to use a current example. I just heard this. I thought it was really funny. The Senator Angela Duckworth had an injury where she lost legs in Iraq. And she wore a t-shirt that said, ask me how I lost 15 pounds overnight. That was a very macabre way to put it. Very funny, but also macabre.
Thank you.
If you use the word macabre or macabre in your speech tonight, evaluation or table topics, I would appreciate it. Thank you. And I will put the definition of the word in the chat. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you, Sheila. Your example really tickled me. Before we go into the speech portion of our meeting, I just want everyone to know that since Bill has been a Toastmaster for so long, you might be interested in seeing a picture of him from when he earned his very first Toastmaster award. Bill, you didn't know I was going to show this, did you? And there we go. Here's a picture from Bill from when he earned his very first Toastmaster award. Yeah, Bill.
Hey,
So let's
Great.
go into our speaking portion of the meeting. I hope you didn't find that too macabre, Bill. Our first speaker will be Distinguished Toastmaster Vera Johnson. Vera is known, Bill, since dirt was still rocks. So let us welcome Vera as she tells us a little bit of her thoughts on Bill Moylan.
Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster. I am going to describe, I'm not a funny person by nature, so I'm not even going to try to be funny because that's what I think roasts are supposed to be. However, I'm going to describe my journey with Bill Moylan and my thoughts. 3 things to describe Bill: worldly, tenacious, and dedicated. Let's go back to when I first met Bill. I met Bill when I was the Area 19, and it's an old system, Area 19 governor. And he was part of the Great Lakes Realtors Club, which was a real estate-based club, and I was. I was so impressed with Bill because, as you know, Bill likes stories. So I'm always interested in learning about people. And I found out that the very first Toastmaster club that Bill joined was back somewhere in the 80s in Saudi Arabia. That caught my interest. I thought, wow, how impressive is that? Nonetheless, the journey began. I needed a mentor, and during that process, Bill became my mentor and helped start to guide me. Fast forward, this must have been, 2007, something like that. Fast forward, it's almost 15, 17 years. We've known each other that long. One of the things about Bill I learned was how organized he was, how committed he was. He ran Great Lakes Realtors, or he didn't run it. He mentored everybody, including myself. But I kept on to Bill and had him continue to mentor me all of these years, back to 2025. So when Bill and I talk on the phone, okay, what are you doing in Toastmasters this year? What are you doing then? The second thing about Bill that I want to point out is how tenacious he is. Bill, when he sets his mind to something, hence 20 DTMs or 22, I think 22 TTMs right now, he's working on it, but I know for 20 for fact, he is committed all the way in terms of his commitment. One of the things that I do want to point out is how brilliant he is with ideas. He was program quality director, I believe it was maybe 2016, I might have the wrong year, but I was so impressed with how many things he wanted to bring to the table when he was program quality director. I wish he had become district director, but changed his mind. Things happened at that time that whenever Bill brought up an idea, Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't work, but nonetheless. The other thing that I wanted, and so in that role as program quality director, he was incredibly dedicated. In addition to all the DTMs that he was working on, he never stopped working on DTMs. There's the dedication right there. One thing that I have to point out, and that always resonates in my brain, is his attitude towards Toastmasters from the dedication. He is so dedicated that he gets so passionate about something that to a point that he gets frustrated. I met Peggy. Peggy is his wife, the most wonderful woman in the entire world, because she grounds Bill and she gets Bill to be more in tune instead of getting as passionate as he gets about a subject. Peggy's motto, and I stick with that motto, if you're not having fun, quit. Obviously, that has not happened yet. Peggy has always said to Bill that no matter how frustrated he ever gets, don't quit, or quit if you're not having fun. So Bill's big thing that I'm aware of is no matter what you're doing, no matter what you're educating yourself on, have fun and make sure you have fun. And the greatest thing about Bill is that he's always helping others. I can see that with this club. He's already mentoring somebody in this club. Bill is an amazing person. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. Thank you, Vera. Wow, if all the roasts go along that line, Bill's gonna, the camera frame won't even be able to hold his head. He'll be so swelled head. You did a great job, and you showed wonderful honor of Bill. But let's go on to our next speaker and see if we have a different tone. I don't know what he's going to say, but we're going to welcome our District 28 Director, Jerome Mabin. Jerome, would you step forward to the microphone and express your thoughts on Bill Moylan?
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, and especially Dr. William Alexander Moylan. And he came from a family tree that was led by Dr. William Alexander Moylan, his dad, who was a medical doctor. What do I know about Bill, and what do I like to share? I'd like to share with you 3 ideas for your consideration, and one of them has already been mentioned. The first one is committed. The second one is dedicated. The third one is global in scope and idea and philosophy. And the fourth one is passionate. Let's start with committed. Since the 1980s, as many of you have witnessed, Dr. Bill Moylan has been a member of the Toastmasters International Organization. He has served in many capacities in his life over his tenure as a Toastmaster. And as you've heard just a moment ago, he served as Program Quality Director. I met Bill when I got my first entry into the leadership team of District 28 Toastmasters. I served as an area director, and that's when I got to observe him from afar. And the singular most important thing that I observed about him: articulate, very thoughtful, very organized, very strategic in his thinking. And also, I noticed that he was a strong encourager of Toastmasters and anyone who came in contact with him and took 2 or 3 minutes to listen to one of his stories. Oh, yes, Dr. Bill Moylan was a wonderful storyteller, still is a wonderful storyteller. And if you listen to him, you will get so much wisdom from the information that he provides. well organized. Anytime you ask him to provide you with a written document, it reminds me of what a dissertation looks like. It's always very focused. It's always very organized. It's always very well done. And it's done in such a way that even if you were a 5-year-old, you could understand. Global in perspective. He's told us stories about his tenure on a job in Saudi Arabia in an environment where women were always treated as less than. But he was able to navigate that environment and make an impact. Impactful in such a way that everywhere that he's been in his life journey, he's made an impact. He's also committed to charitable activity. And what does that mean? He is involved in an organization that I'm also affiliated with, and that is Habitat for Humanity. But not only is he thoroughly engaged in the local organization, but each year he travels to Guatemala to manage a major project and work on a major project, collaborating with others from around the world. So he's global in his scope and global in his thinking. He is the epitome of a well-organized person, and that is clear. And if you love storytelling, all you have to do is listen to him for a few minutes and he'll tell you a story. And one of my fondest memories is how when we have conversations, sometimes we talk about something that's probably gonna, I think, last for about 5 minutes. And 30 minutes later, Dr. Bill Moylan and I are still on the call and still having conversation, because he is remarkable at persuasion, and he certainly does a wonderful job of sharing his ideas. Now, the one thing that I still don't understand is, where does he get the energy to continue working on earning Distinguished Toastmasters Award? Why 20 Toastmasters Award? I have no idea. But I think it may have something to do with the passion that he has for the organization and what the organization is all about. So I think this evening we're honoring a true giant among giants in Toastmasterdom, and I just created that word. And without being macabre in the analysis of who Bill is, I want to make sure that we do no harm to his physical body and no harm to his capacity as an individual. So no physical harm, no mental harm to Dr. Bill Moylan, who is my idol, my hero. And if you ever want to understand what a real Toastmaster is like, follow the example, listen to the story of Dr. Bill Moylan. And the last thing that I will share is something that I noticed recently. And it tells me something about the character of the man and the giving nature and charitable nature that he has. I was on the campus of Lawrence Technological University, and something jumped out at me. I was getting ready to walk into the building, and guess what I saw? I saw a brick on the building, on the Buell building on Lawrence Technological University, that had a brick with the inscription of Dr. William Moylan. And that told me, and that demonstrates to me, the charitable nature of Dr. Bill Moylan. How many of you know that if you get your name on a building or any part of the building structure, that means you must have given some money? So charitable giving is one thing that Dr. Bill Moylan stands for. And I'm so happy that I had a chance to cross his path in this life journey of Toastmasters District 28. And I submit to you this evening that if you want to get to know the steps of a remarkable man that has the ability To speak and walk with kings and still have the common touch, I introduce Dr. William Alexander Morgan. I'm sorry, Moylan. Dr. William Alexander Moylan.
Thank you. Thank you. We have now another speaker who has known Bill Moylan for a long time, which, you know, if you look at that gray beard, you know you're capable of knowing him for a long time. So let us go now to Toastmaster Craig Fulton. I'm looking for you on the screen so I can highlight you. Okay, Craig, are you ready for your thoughts and feelings about Dr. Bill Moylan?
Ready.
All right, then let us have you step into the spotlight and proceed with your roast.
A PhD, a PMP, a FESD, a DTM, Professor Emeritus, and probably a few other things his wife would like to call him. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and everyone who's ready to hear some inside secrets about Bill Moylan. I'm going to use the acronym DTM because I feel it's appropriate for Bill on this night. When I think of D in the DTM, I think of Bill as being like a Dutch uncle, someone who's going to provide you with advice, someone's going to share some information with you and not hold back. Sometimes they're going to give you some tough love, but it's all designed to make you better today than you were yesterday. The secret in the DTM, though, I'm going to share with you. I was on the phone with Bill, and Bill really shared some resourceful information with me. And when we were done, he said, Craig, don't forget to return the form to me. What form, Bill? He said, the form I emailed to you. He said, not only did I share information with you, I shared it to you in speech format. Please return this evaluation to me. I'm getting credit for this speech toward my DTM. So know that every time you speak to Bill, whether it's 5 minutes or whether it's 50 minutes, you're going to have to evaluate him because he's getting credit for speaking to you. The second thing you might not know about Bill, let's go with the D. I'm sorry, with the T in the DTM. And believe it or not, aren't you amazed when you come across someone and you find out something you never in your wildest dreams thought would be possible? Bill Moylan is a Tyler Perry fan. Yes, he is. I was trying to figure out, does Bill like Tyler Perry plays? Can you just imagine Bill Moylan dressed up as Medea? Does he like Tyler Perry's movies? Or does he like Tyler Perry's TV shows? But come to find out, he shared something with me that I'm going to uncover for everyone here tonight. He said, Craig, the thing I like about Tyler Perry is he usually puts his name in front of everything. He said, I'm going to petition Toastmasters International to change the DTM name to Bill Moylan's DTM. Jerome, have you submitted that yet? And how is that coming along? The third letter in the DTM is the M. And the M is Bill as a mentor. Now, saying Bill has been a mentor to many would be like saying, if you were at a speech contest, the judges are anonymous. Everyone pretty much knows that Bill has been a fabulous mentor to members and to the district. Whether it's mentoring you and how well a meeting should be structured, whether it's finding meeting space when the district needs it, could be for contests, could be for TLIs or other events. Bill is always there. And when your club is challenged with membership, Bill will provide you with some outstanding advice. So Bill is a Dutch uncle, Bill is the Tyler Perry lover, and Bill, as the mentor, is someone I have always continued to just seek advice from, and I will continue to do so moving forward. Remember, Bill Moylan, PhD, PMP, FESD, Professor Emeritus. Congratulations to you, Bill, on your next DTM, or Bill Moylan's DTM. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster. You're muted, Karen, you're muted.
Well, I was just saying, I think you might be onto something there with the Bill Moylan's DTM. He's left his mark on so many of us. Maybe we should start having a Bill Moylan medallion. Think about it. Yeah, think about it. Wouldn't that be the statement? Our next speaker is not only a member of MetroMasters, he is a member, he's a member of Innovative Orators, which was a club that Bill Moylan founded. I wonder if he can remember what date he founded it on. I don't know. But let's go to Dr. Bill Liverman for a few thoughts about his impressions of Bill Moylan.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, Madam Toastmasters, and guests. What can I say about Dr. Bill Moylan? And with enthusiasm that's about to come forward.
Uh-oh. Let's give him a minute and see if he can get through.
But in so many other areas of life, think about.
I'm going to see if I can interrupt Dr. Bill Moylan and put him next on the rotation so he can stop, and hopefully his freezing and glitching will be resolved. Dr. Bill, Liverman, Dr.
Yes.
Liverman, you're glitching quite a bit.
Yes.
How about if we go onto our next speech and then we'll put you afterwards, okay? Maybe you can close a few apps or something. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. That's one of the things about being a Toastmaster. You always have to juggle, be ready to step forward. Bill Moylan has taught me that. Do you know that man has thousands of ideas in his head? He's given me so many ideas on what we can do to increase membership, how we can grab in some young people, grab in their parents, how we can expand. He's like a fountain of knowledge. So I guess all those years as being a professor, I guess they kind of, didn't spring out of nothing, huh, Bill? let's see what our own area director and Metro Masters and Innovative Orators member, Jelena Verkler, has to say about Bill Moylan.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. We are here tonight to celebrate a truly historic achievement. Dr. Bill Moylan earning his 20th Distinguished Toastmaster Award. At this point, Toastmasters may have to create an entirely new level just for him. Something like Doctor of Toastology or Professor of Pathways or Toastmaster Emeritus. You know, an honorary title for someone who's technically graduated but refuses to leave campus. And honestly, after 20 DTMs, distinguished doesn't quite cover it anymore. Maybe it's time to recognize Bill as Distinguished Toastmaster summa cum laude, because quiet has never really been his style. Now, Bill says he keeps coming back because he's still finding value in Toastmasters. But personally, I think he keeps coming back because his family and friends have finally tuned him out, and now we are the lucky captive audience. For anyone new tonight, let me paint a picture. Bill Moylan is a man of many talents: speaker, linguist, professor, engineer, consultant, and possibly international man of mystery. He's been in Toastmasters since the 1980s, which means he's been giving speeches longer than some of us have been speaking in full sentences. Bill is also one of the few people I know whose business card has a word count. Yeah, PhD, PMP, FESD, DTM. Honestly, I'm still not sure if those are degrees or a Wi-Fi password. It's been reported that only 2% of the population holds a PhD, which is impressive. But among those 2%, the competition is fierce. They must continue earning degrees until there's only one person left with the entire alphabet after their name. And I'm sure among his professional circle, Bill is highly respected for all of those accolades. But to the rest of us, it kind of just looks like a kindergartner who didn't know the alphabet tried to sign him up for a credit card. Bill is a storyteller through and through. He's lived abroad, taught students from all over the world, and once even gave a speech about the importance of engaging humor across cultures, though, by his own admission, that's still a work in progress. He told us about teaching in an international class where he shared a joke and nobody laughed until a student stood up, delivered the punchline in their own language, and then suddenly everyone was laughing. Bill, of course, chalked that up to a language barrier because, naturally, his jokes were always funny. And this went on for weeks, until one day that student wasn't there. Bill asked another student to translate, but this time, total silence. When he asked why, they admitted that the first student hadn't been translating at all. They'd just been telling everyone, "Let's all laugh and clap to make Professor Moylan feel good." And Bill, just so you know, we've all agreed to do the same thing tonight. When Bill joined our club in 2024, he immediately became VP of Education and catapulted us to distinguished status. How did he do it? By scheduling every speech for the whole year alphabetically in advance. Because nothing says motivation like knowing your next speech is already assigned. In his world, volunteer is not a noun, it's a threat. He's also always finding ways for us to get credit for the speeches we give outside of our meetings. He's gone through pathways so many times, he thinks in level 1 and level 2s. Rest assured, where there's a bill, there's a way to make it count. And despite all the razzing, we're better for it. Bill's dedication, ideas, and wisdom have elevated our club in ways that only 20 DTMs could. Bill, we admire your accomplishments, your wit, and your relentless pursuit of excellence. You've shown us what lifelong learning looks like, and maybe what lifetime membership really means. And in honor of your teaching days and the students who always made you feel so appreciated, let's all do the same tonight. Let's laugh and clap, just enough to make Professor Moylan feel good. Congratulations, Bill, our very own final boss of Toastmasters.
Thank you, Jelena. You know, to add on to Jelena's thought, I was thinking that he's done pathways so many times, he's turned it into a 5-lane highway. Only the only thing is, it's always under construction. Now let's return to distinguished Toastmaster Bill Liverman. Bill, are you with us?
Yes, we have to move on. We're having an issue here.
Oh dear.
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
All right. We'll have to bypass that for now. If you resolve your issue, we can come back to it later. Meanwhile, we're going to move on the agenda. Now, I think almost everybody here is a Toastmaster, so you're familiar with the idea of table topics. Is there anybody who would like to volunteer to be the first provider of a table topic? Because if not, our table topic master is not above calling on you cold. So with that, I will announce our table topic master of the day, Toastmaster Jelena Verkler. Jelena, go ahead and pick at will.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. And I will go ahead and select distinguished Toastmaster Vera. So through his time in Toastmasters, distinguished Toastmaster Bill Moylan has won several speech competitions. What would you say to encourage someone to participate in a speech competition for the first time? Or what advice would you give someone who wanted to participate in a speech competition for the first time? Toastmaster Vera.
Thank you so much, Madam Table Topics Master. What I would do to encourage someone to participate in a speech contest is to have the mindset, whatever goes, goes. I speak 5 languages. In my first speech contest, it was a table topics contest. I was so nervous, but my mentor had seriously encouraged me to participate in table topics. I got up there and thought I was going to die, but I got through it. I don't remember what the table topic was, but I speak Russian. I was that nervous, I turned the entire table topic into Russian, but I got through it. Unbeknownst to me, guess what? I did not win. Nobody understood what I said, but nonetheless, I turned that table topic and I participated. The next time I participated into the contest, I swore I was never going to be in a contest again. I did it again, and it was a table topics contest. This time I did it in English. And I didn't win, but I placed second. So nonetheless, what my advice to anybody who would want to participate in a contest, it is a growing experience. It doesn't matter what you do. You can do it in any language that you want to. It doesn't matter. Just go for it, do it, and it gets easier and easier. And Bill Moylan is one that I can attest to watching him speak. He does it really well. So does Craig Fulton. So do a few others, LaShawn Bowers. We've got wonderful speech competitors. The other thing that I would recommend is if you are thinking about going and doing a speech contest, talk to somebody that has already done it. They can help you and they can encourage you. Thank you so much, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you so much for that answer. For my next Table Topics contestant, I will ask Jerome Mabin. So Jerome, Bill has been in Toastmasters for decades. What do you think it is about Toastmasters that keeps people coming back? Or what is it that has kept you coming back? Jerome.
Madam Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests, what has kept me coming back is the same thing that got me started in the first place. And that was, I was doing some consulting work for a professional individual, a chief executive officer of a company. And they indicated to me that I found this great organization where they work on helping people to develop their communication and leadership skills. And I think that's something that you could benefit from, although I believe that you are already proficient in how to parse the spoken word in such a way that the average person understands. I think this will help take you to the next level. And from that experience, he said to me one thing that caught my attention. By the way, if you join Toastmasters, and the Toastmasters Club was Troy Community Toastmasters in Troy, Michigan, I will sponsor you and I will pay your fees for as long as you are a member. And since that time, I've grown to a level of maturity in public speaking that I had never thought I would reach before. I started out public speaking when I was about 8 years old. And as a result of that, throughout my life, I've been involved in competitive speaking at the high school, at the elementary level, the high school level, and at the college level. I've competed. And what kept me coming back to Toastmasters was not because someone offered me a free tuition package, but it was because all of the friends that I've made, all of the experiences that I've had, all of the skills that I've learned, and one of the skills that Toastmasters must learn is the ability not only to speak, but also to listen effectively. And since that time, I've grown from being just a member to the executive officer of District 28. And that is beyond my wildest expectations and my wildest dreams. So that's what keeps me coming back. The fact that I've met so many great people and it's allowed me to grow and continue to learn. Back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Jerome. And I'm not sure if all of you know, but part of becoming a distinguished Toastmaster is the mentoring process. In our club, Bill has become a mentor for our member, Anthony. So, Anthony, I would like to ask you, how has Bill impacted your personal Toastmasters journey, or what qualities of a mentor do you admire? Anthony.
Madam Table Topics Masters and fellow Toastmasters, um, the role of the role that Bill played in my life thus far is very impactful. I know once I became a Toastmaster and everything, I gravitated towards him because the way that he speaks, the way that he's just bring you along. He's very personable. So the first time I've interacted with him, we were at uh, a District 28 leadership meeting, and I remember he was telling me, as being a Italian, He said Italians speak with their hands, and I notice Bill always speaks with his hands. And um, I could call Bill. He's very personable. I know I called him one day on a Saturday, and we talked about an hour. I was literally driving, and I had somewhere to be, but I lost track of where I was going because we were so engaged with the conversation. And I think one thing that Bill gravitated towards me was DAPSAP, Detroit Area Pre-College Engineering Program. I know he's an engineer, so we have a lot of interests and we have a lot of things in common. I know as far as AOTU, we have um, a lot of people in common. So Bill is always open and uh, just very and uh, very opening. And thank you, truly, Bill, for our relationship.
Thank you so much, Anthony. I think that speaks to how strongly the mentor relationship in Toastmasters can impact our individual experiences within Toastmasters. And I think for my last table topics question, I will speak directly to Bill Moylan, our guest of the night, our guest of honor. Bill Moylan, as the resident expert, what advice would you give to others pursuing a DTM for the first time? Or how would you explain to them that a DTM is worth pursuing? So up to you. How or what advice would you give them pursuing a DTM for the first time? Or how would you convince them that a DTM is worth pursuing? Bill.
Thank you, Jelena. It was Helen Blanchard, the first female member of Toastmasters International and the first international president who happened to be a woman. And she said, if you get out of Toastmasters, everything you can get out of Toastmasters, you'll never get out of Toastmasters. Back to you, Jelena.
Thank you. So it looks like it is 6:50. We have until 6:53, so I do have time for one more person for table topics. So I will ask, Toastmaster Kimberly Baird. I would ask you to either convince Bill to go after his 21st DTM or convince Bill to not go after his 21st DTM award. Up to you. Either direction you take it.
Hello, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, and our most honored guest, distinguished Toastmaster Bill Moylan. I think you really need to go for that 21st DTM, and here's why. 20 is a great number, but 21-year-olds can drink alcohol. We could have a bar celebration. We could have a wine tasting. You love wine. I remember you telling us about how much you love wine. We could do a 21st Distinguished Toastmaster celebration along with a wine tasting. You could educate us on wine. You could do wine Distinguished Toastmaster, educating all of us on wine, and then we can have a wine tasting in honor of you accomplishing your 21st Distinguished Toastmaster Award. So you'll be educating all of us. It might be the most amount of Distinguished Toastmaster awards anyone has ever won in the history of Toastmasters. And we'll all get to have some lovely wine. So, Bill, for the sake of all of us, please, you have to go on and do your Distinguished Toastmasters award for the 21st time. Thank you.
Thank you, Kimberly. And now I will turn it back over to our roast master of the day, Karen Baird.
Thank you. Thank you for those great table topics. I want to ask Dr. Bill Liverman if he would like to try again, or are you still having your glitchy issues?
I think I have to skip tonight. I discovered the problem, but it won't be resolved tonight.
All right, we will save that for a future meeting.
Absolutely.
We'd love to hear that at another time. In that case, we want to give a chance for a poor man to defend himself. We've said a lot of things about him. Let's find out what Toastmaster Bill Moylan thinks he's about to give his biggest evaluation ever. Evaluating us, evaluating him. Oh my gosh, it's like that movie Inception. So take it away, distinguished Toastmaster, for the 20th time, like DTM with a 20th exponential. Dr. Bill Moylan.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests. First of all, it's been talked about that I don't give any free speeches. That is correct. This is my public relations strategies project. Anthony is using that to evaluate me. When we talked about it this period, I am the club treasurer. Karen, the president, said, let's have an open house. I thought, look, over a 2-year period, every club has an open house. What's going to get them to ours? And we were kicking ideas around. I said, I got it. Roast Bill Moylan. I'm sure a whole lot of people want to tell me what they really think about me. And I'm rather displeased. This is a roast, fellow Toastmasters. I don't want to hear your accolades. I want to hear what you really think. And that's where you came out tonight looking for that. Vera, you noted that I was your mentor, but you're also mine. Don't you remember when I was program quality director, 2018, 2020? It was August. We just got back from the international convention, my first. You have been there many times. You were Division G director. Someone was Division H, and they didn't have many people that got through the TLI. So I was able to put together the TLI at the Bosch Livonia facility. They were one of my clubs that I was helping, and you very politely gave me an evaluation while I was presenting the Distinguished Club program. You just simply raised your hand and told me I was doing it wrong. You should be doing it this way during the piece. I thought for certain you would tell that. Jerome, when we were at Lawrence Tech, now you are always impeccably dressed. And when I worked there after I returned from my 11 and a half years with Aramco in Saudi Arabia, of all places to come back to Michigan, of all places to work, my alma mater, Lawrence Institute of Technology. And yes, my name's on the building. Look, you just give them enough money, they make you a founder. What can I say? But anyway, when I was working there, I wore suits. I always had a tie on. And I was considered to be one of the 3 best men at LIT. Now, that's not saying a lot when you see the way many professors dress. And even as an adjunct during the 90s, I would be coming from my consulting engagements, and I would be dressed appropriately as a consultant. And someone saw Jerome, and this was your first time at LTU, and they said, gee, is that one of your consulting friends? I said, no, he's in real estate pieces. And he says, gee, Bill, you're going to have to up your game. He's so much better dressed than you are. You actually kind of look like a shabby professor compared to him. And Craig, yes, we competed against each other. You normally would beat me on that, and you encouraged me to continue. And someone else talked about getting into contests. Vera, it was your table topic. And you could have mentioned that the club Northwood, that's been around since Jesus was a carpenter, and they had this one member, Pat Murray, and he would ring contest after contest after contest. Now, the interesting thing is Pat Murray and I are second cousins. And we met finally back at a Toastmasters contest. He didn't know I was back, and someone was just so impressed. Gee, you didn't know him back in time. And I said, look, between Pat and I, between us, we have over 200 cousins between the DePaulos and the Carcellis. You know, Pat and I both have that Italian heritage. So that wasn't much. But I did compete head to head with Pat and knocked him out of the park. And that's when he stopped competing. And Northwood is it's still on reshelf today. Bill Liverman, too bad he couldn't tell you that I actually evaluated his icebreaker in the Innovative Orators Club 2883. That was originally the Lawrence Tech Toastmasters Club that I founded. Its birthday is October 18th, 1988. Now, how can somebody remember that? Well, I birthed the club that day and I birthed my daughter. And when my wife was in labor on the afternoon and evening of October 17th at Sinai Hospital in Detroit, I broke work with me, and I was finally had quiet time to pull all the different paper together to put into the mailing box for the whole club charter. And after taking a shower at home and was coming back to the hospital, I took it to the post office and mailed it then. So I birthed the club and a daughter the same day. Now, Bill also had an interesting thing. It was a second speech, and it was how he talked about how records could never be broken. And he was going on about a personal connection he had with Barry Bonds, the baseball player. And if you think I ramble on, Dr. Bill was going off in different directions. We weren't following. Oh, I'm getting to it. I'm getting to it. And he said Barry Bonds was the one who broke the home run record of Babe Ruth. And I immediately said, what? You're wrong. It was Hank Aaron. April 8th, 1974. And oh my gosh, Bill was just shook. And afterwards he said, Bill, you just spoke out that way. What if there was a guest in the room? My gosh, I said, Bill, you better learn to handle heckling from the audience. I certainly have, but to not know that it was Hank Aaron that beat Babe Ruth's record? Okay, Larry Barry Bonds, who cheated, but got it. But we'll leave it on that. And I was appreciative of Jerome Mabin bringing in my uh, family tree. Too bad he didn't go back farther. Uh, Wilhelm Moylan, my own namesake. He was hung in 1295 as the most notorious horse thief in all of the British Isles. And it turns out that I come from a very long line of the very best distinguished horse thieves in Ireland. They would have this habit of borrowing the horses from the English and then selling it back to them. I just felt that was being a good entrepreneur on that. People have also mentioned when I joined Toastmasters, it was March of 1981. And yes, my first club was Dahran Toastmasters. Too bad they didn't share with you. I didn't join Toastmasters to improve my public speaking because I had people that my peers, my fellow engineers said, boy, can that Bill Moylan talk? And then the non-technical people say, my God, can that Bill Moylan talk and talk and talk? And when is he ever going to be quiet? Well, it was a colleague who I interviewed for an administrative position within one of the project groups that I was responsible for. And she was a very attractive woman. Now, you have many attractive women here tonight, so what's the big deal? Well, in Saudi Arabia, the ratio of men to eligible women is over 50 to 1. And here I was having a woman asking me to come on a date to a thing called Toastmasters. And then she called me back again and again. And back in those days, we met every week. And to be considered for membership, you had to attend 3 meetings in a row, and then they would vote you in. And if you missed, once you were a member, if you missed more than 3 meetings in a row, don't forget we meet every week. You'd have to go through the 3 meeting process again to come back. And so people thought, well, then, gee, how could you do it? Well, let's just simply say there's not a whole lot to do in Saudi Arabia. And besides being active in Toastmasters, I was having other members ask me to mentor them. And it was, I guess, a way of making it more fun that way. Jelena, I'm really happy that you shared some of the funny stories about me with international students. And yes, I have been learned in Toastmasters that some people need to be voluntold to do things on it. And Anthony, you brought up when we were speaking and how I always speak with my hands. Too bad I didn't tell you one person learned on how to shut me up. He came up, he grabbed my hands, held them tight, and says, Bill, talk. I couldn't do it. I have to have my hands with that. But as a, I guess finally, Karen or Kim, you were bringing up the idea of my 21st DTM. Well, that's not that far away on the horizon. I've got 2 elements I got to complete. One is my DTM project, which I'm currently doing. It connects with Rotary International. I'm starting a Rotaract club at Lawrence Tech University, connected with the city of Northfield, Township of Northfield, on community projects. I'm working on being a club mentor for the new club at UD Jesuit Johnson Recreation Center. We got some people here tonight who are helping with that. And you mentioned wine tasting. Uh, People say, do you like wine? And I say, as the Pope Catholic, I think it's a great idea. So my target is to complete it on July 1st, 2026, and I bring the wine. Back to you, Karen Barrett.
Thank you. Thank you, Bill. Well, I loved your rebuttal. I think you covered all the bases, but now I would like to invite any guests who would like to send Bill a message via chat. We will make sure that he receives your chat messages, be they glorious accolades or macabre insults. We will let Bill know what you're thinking. You know, it reminds me of the Seinfeld episode with Festivus. We will now do the airing of the grievances. Do you remember that part? Yes, so feel free to put into chat your heartfelt thoughts towards Bill, and we'll make sure that he gets exactly what you say. Moving on, I'm now going to open the meeting up to our general evaluator, who has, and although we have an abbreviated evaluation today, she's going to bring out the key portions that we want to cover tonight. So let us welcome Artemis Mayat.
Thank you, Madam Evaluator, fellow evaluators, and especially the magical, mystical Big Chief Toastmaster Bill Moylan. Like to explain the role of the General Evaluator, or GE, which has 2 major responsibilities, and that's one, to coordinate the evaluation team, and 2, to evaluate the overall meeting. For those of you all who didn't know, the evaluation segment is one of the 3 main pillars of the Toastmasters meeting. This is where you find out what was done well in the speech and areas where you can take it to the next level. I will start with introducing my helpers. And my helpers would be the Odd-Counter Grammarian, and also the timer, and excuse me, the grammarian. I always get the 2 there, could be combined together, but it's the Odd-Counter. Would you please explain your role, purpose, and what you had been looking for throughout the meeting? I'll introduce our counter.
Thank you and good evening, Toastmasters and guests. I am the I counter. My job is to listen for effective language, vivid word choice, crisp phrasing, and memorable lines and slips and grammar so we all can improve. From what I noticed, Anthony, and I just did myself, but I'll call myself, but Anthony had I'm gonna say like five or more and was it Artemis had five. I'll count myself, I just had two. But for the most part, everyone did a great job and we all can use improvements. Thank you. I'll hand it back to you.
Thank you. Next, I would like to introduce our table topics evaluation. And that would be Toastmaster, I can pronounce the name, I don't want to mess it up. I would just introduce the evaluation of the overall table topics.
Thank you, Toastmaster Artemis. I am Felice Wang. I'm the table topics evaluator today. In our club, we do table topics and we have the evaluation session. Generally talks about what has been going on with the table topics and how a very brief evaluation of the speeches. For today, it's a very special session that we have a lot of honored guests joining us, and it's a roast for our distinguished Toastmaster Bill Moylan. So the table topic questions are all related to the roast theme, to Bill Moylan, and to table topic to the Toastmaster experience in general. So I think I really like the setup of the questions. It is inspiring and also very funny, interesting to hear about. Thanks to our table topics masters, she keeps the engaging energy going on throughout the entire session. For our speeches, the very first two answers were from our honored guests, Vera Johnson and Jerome Mabon. You both of your answers were given some personal story and ended up inspiring people. And it was a very structured answer, and it's also humorous. I loved both of your answers. And then the next one was from our Toastmaster Anthony Gore. You talked a little about your experience with Bill Moylan as a mentee, and you also talked from your personal experience, and it does convey your very personal feelings, and we do love to hear about that aspect from about Bill Moylan as well. And Toastmaster Bill Moylan, your answer was super short and concise. I would love if you can talk more. That's the one place that you didn't answer as much as you used to be. And for the last one, the answered from Toastmaster Kim Baird Cooley. First off, I don't know if that was an impromptu question because our Toastmaster Jelena, you said that there were enough people and then there was still some time, so we added one more. But that is a really interesting question to begin with. So you were asking someone else if Bill Moylan should pursue the next distinguished Toastmaster. And then the answer was also very funny. It all fit to the theme, and we really enjoyed some of the laughter here. That was all my evaluation for our today's table topic session. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you, Toastmaster Wayne. I'm looking for the timer, but I will now ask the timer to please explain your role and give your report.
Hello, I am the timer for today's meeting. The timer of Toastmasters makes sure that we are hitting our speech time goals, and we do that by demonstrating via time cards when someone has hit their goal for the minimum speech requirement, when they are in the middle between their minimum and maximum, and when they have reached the maximum time requirement of their allotted speaking time. For the prepared speech section, unfortunately, I had some technical difficulties for the first speaker, but I estimate that you spoke for approximately 5 minutes. Speaker number 2 spoke for 7 minutes and 52 seconds. Speaker number 3 spoke for 5 minutes and 15 seconds. Regretfully, we had some technical difficulties, so Dr. Bill Liverman was unable to deliver his prepared speech. And we moved on to speaker number 5, or 4, I suppose, Jelena, who spoke for 6 minutes and 4 seconds. Our table topics, which the goal is to speak between 1 and 2 minutes. Toastmaster Vera spoke for 2 minutes and 4 seconds. Toastmaster Jerome spoke for 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Toastmaster Anthony Gore spoke for 1 minute and 56 seconds. Toastmaster Bill Moylan spoke for 26 seconds, and I spoke for 1 minute and 21 seconds. Bill's Revenge of the Roasters speech did go a bit over time, but it was very funny, so I think it was worth it. He spoke for 11 minutes and 13 seconds. And lastly, for our table topic evaluation, which the goal is 3 to 4 minutes, we were just over that 3-minute mark, which was ideal. This concludes my timer's report.
Thank you, Toastmaster Kimberly Baird. At this time, I would like to give an overall opinion, comment about the meeting. The meeting started on time, fashionably on time at 6:01. The mission statement was read, and what I loved was that it was in the chat for all to see. It's good for guests. Great Toastmaster, excellent greeting. You are a good facilitator and a motivator. Toastmaster Karen Baird. I love the word of the day, and I love something that challenges and increases our vocabulary. And I'm very appreciative that you also put it in the chat. I love the picture that was placed in the chat with Toastmaster Moylan and his peace and harmony days. I guess it kind of looked like the hippie days back in the day, and that was just cream of the crop. Thank you.
Go.
Toastmaster Vera Johnson, I love that you used your vocabulary words that really increased our vocabulary, tenacious and resonates. That if you're not having fun, then quit. Toastmaster Maven, I really like the fact we learned something about Toastmaster Moylan, and that was, I didn't know his name was William Alexander Moylan, and that his father was the medical doctor. Thanks for the 3 ideas that you also shared with us. Toastmaster Fulton, I really like what you said about he gets credit when every time you speak to him, and I did not know he was a Tyler Perry fan. Liverman, only thing I can say is thank you, but maybe perhaps check your equipment thoroughly. Table topics, love that you chose very thoughtful topics for table topics, but perhaps next time you might pick more people who did not get a chance to speak. Also, I would like to say I didn't hear the timing rules explained. Like this is from 1 to 2 minutes so that they would know how long to speak. So perhaps put that in an explanation as to the timing rules. Audience was attentive. Guest acknowledged. Perhaps they could have a short bio of themselves so that when you explain to them, introduce them to the audience, we know a little bit more about the guest that you chose. Moreland, his table topics, that was awesome that you did that. I don't think he spoke for the minimum minute though. But this concludes my portion of the general evaluator, and I return control to our wonderful Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Karen Baird. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I think everyone here is Toastmaster. There might be one or two exceptions. We always value that general evaluators portion of the meeting, because how else can we improve unless we get that feedback? So thank you very much for that wonderful general evaluation, Toastmaster Artemis Mayat. So it's at this time, I would like to open the meeting to any questions or discussion, and especially I would like to open that up to the guests. And if you have anything on your mind, you can raise your hand. Otherwise, I might just call on a few people. All right, Hessie, what do you think, Hessie?
Evening, Toastmasters and guests. I was in awe of all the additional information that I heard about Dr. Bill Moylan. I knew that he was an honored Toastmaster when I first joined this district. I appreciate all the conversations I had with him. He reinforced things that I knew about being a Toastmaster. And a lot of times we do need reinforcement because you can get a little lazy in the fact that you are a Toastmaster. It's my honor to know him. And also, I was very grateful when I had my area director contest there. I didn't know if he was going to say yay or nay because I knew he didn't know me. I was new to the district, but he supported me. And then any questions that I had, he supported me in that. So from my dealings with him, which is limited, I still want to say it's an honor to know him, a person who has went through the whole complete cycle of getting 20 DTMs. I barely got my first one. It has never been on the horizon to get another one, but I will pretend when I'm doing my pathways and my other projects that possibly I can be like Dr. Bill Moylan. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hessie. I want to give an opportunity for some people who maybe have never been to a Toastmasters meeting before to give us some feedback. So Kevin Verkler, what did you think? Did you see anything here that was a surprise, Kevin?
Well, admit that is my father. I'm not sure if he's willing to
okay,
share.
That's all right. That's
You
all
know,
right.
Sheila
We'll
has
give him a
talked about him
chance.
being such a great man, you know. But I think he was just trying to watch tonight.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks for inviting him. Pooja, what did you think?
Thank you, Toastmaster TTM. I just wanted to say I really enjoyed the today's open house. The roast was hilarious, but still full of warmth, I must say. And it showed how much everybody appreciates Bill. And I also got to know that he comes to my university. So if I get a chance to meet him, it will be great of him if he meets me. And the energy and the creativity was amazing, honestly. I attended this session like an open house for the first time in the Toastmaster setup. So it was amazing. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Pooja. I see so many. I wish we had time on the agenda to call on everyone because I see Tanya, LaShawn, Linda, Mike. These are people who I know. Chandra, I'm not sure if I've met before, but I appreciate everybody's being here tonight. If you have any questions or want more information about the club, we're happy to provide that. This is an open house. What would an open house be if I didn't invite people to join the club? I'm sorry, I forgot to mention John and Sherry. Hi, John and Sherry. We're glad that you are here.
Hi. Actually, I wanted to let you know that this was my first club, Metro Masters. When I was working for Blue Cross Blue Shield, I'd hurry up and get on my horse and go over to the meeting around lunchtime, and I didn't want to leave. It was so nice.
Oh, wow,
I
I
enjoyed
never knew
that.
that.
I enjoyed that. And thank you. I've got a long way to go to meet up with Bill, but I'd like to toast to you for your 21st when I see you in person with a glass of wine.
Sounds good.
Like we have, definitely something
Bill.
for our 21st. I did want to ask Craig, I did have another Toastmasters or a table topics question for him. I wanted to either ask Craig, I did just a little research on you before. I know you're a top evaluator. So I was either going to ask how you would give advice to people evaluating or what you've learned from evaluating, or in your opinion, what is the importance of recognizing achievement both in Toastmasters and in life? So Craig, I was curious to hear from you.
All right, thank you. I would say one of my favorite quotes was by Cavett Robert, who was one of the founders of the National Speakers Association, I believe. And he said, more people are starving for recognition than are starving for food. And sometimes it can be a small, tiny recognition, but to that person, it's large. So just recognizing someone for giving their first speech, sending them a message, how their speech may have moved you, little things like that mean the world. And when you're sharing feedback with somebody, oftentimes when you hear their speech and you hear the evaluator, they don't hear all the feedback they need to hear. So in private, send them a little note. Because as one of my mentors taught me, always share something good they did, which is a plus, but also share something with them to consider making their speech better moving forward, which he says is a plus plus. So all feedback is either a plus or plus plus. And as the person who receives the feedback, remember it's another person's opinion and thank them for it. And remember, it's Bob Russell, an old time Toastmaster. Some of the oldies here might remember, well, I'm sorry, some of the seasoned Toastmasters here might remember, as Bob Russell would say, you still have creative license over your speech.
Yeah.
Always be appreciative of your feedback.
Thank you. John, did you have some comment?
Yes, this is to Bill. Now I've noticed this whole roast, you got DTM 1, then you got DTM 2, DTM 3, but you're only getting them one at a time. Now, see, that's okay to your 15 DTMs. I give you that. But you're an organized person. You know what to do. You have a Henry Ford manufacturing plant there. I want to see in the future, step it up. 2 at a time, 3 at a time, 5 at a time. Now, as I say in the evaluation form, the challenge, obtain a monopoly on all DTMs and nobody gets any anymore because you have them. I'm done. Well, may I respond to that?
Yes. Yeah.
Remember when the legacy awards were coming to an end?
Right.
And Tanya had submitted my DTM application for Success Builders. And then it popped back and it said, that, gee, it didn't take because he had another one pending. So she got that awarded for me. And then a different club had put in, because I had 2 applications pending. I thought, oh my God, now I'm sitting here with 3. What's going on? So I was at the international convention. I politely went up and said, I got this issue. My colleagues saw this come in. I'd already done. And they said, look, just call us and drop it. We'll take care of it. Well, I did. And they said, no, Tanya Maddox was correct. You did have that other one pending. And oh, by the way, you got 3 more pending. And in 2019, 2020, I earned 6 DTMs.
Phew. Wow, I stand
Now, I
corrected.
thought, how did this happen? Well, you keep doing all this stuff. It kept adding up, and International is keeping track of it. Remember, this was the legacy. You do the competent communicator,
Yeah.
and then the advanced communicator, and you got to do several of the gold or the bronze, silver, and gold, and then you got to do the advanced leader, bronze and silver, and you got the competent leader, what have you. Well, I just kept kind of doing those pieces and not knowing that, oops, and I kind of was keeping track, I thought, but they said, no, you've got them. So I then went to other clubs. I joined Toast It Right in June of that year, and I said, I've got one criteria. I'm going to join in June, but you have to submit this immediately. As soon as they got my membership, you got to put it in. It's got to be before the end of June. And I was able to help that brand new club become distinguished, having only been chartered for 6 months. And I know Vera was very impressed. Then she found out how they did it. Oh, you cheated. Well, it's the rules, They got the awards, and so it's done. But it's part of it too. Now, I would also say one thing: the new system they've added, you've got to be involved in meetings to complete a level, and as well as be doing the Successful Club and Better Speaker Series. They're bringing that back in. So all of us on the call, I'm sure all of us are already engaged in that way. So you just don't give speeches and projects. They want you engaged in clubs. So I think that's a good. But thank you, John. You gave me a good challenge. So
Stand corrected. I didn't realize that.
but we would have on that. And if anybody you would like to join the Johnson Recreation Center Club, it is hybrid. I have a fellow member on board, Jim Osiri. He works at UD Jesuit High School and Academy. We are integrating it with their activity as a gavel club, and then during the summer, conducting youth leaderships for the community at the Johnson Rec Center. So people say, how do you do it? Well, you keep finding new opportunities.
That's right. Okay.
I want to thank everybody who's here, everybody who participated, everybody who just logged in to observe. We really are happy that you've joined us tonight, and you'll be getting some feedback from us, including an invitation, of course, to join Metro Masters. We always like to have fun at Metro Masters. I think you'll find that we always have a really energetic, really positive meeting. So with that, it is exactly on my clock, 7:30, so I will call for the adjournment.
I will, yes.
And wish you all a very good night and give my very best to Bill Moylan. And by the way, Bill Moylan, I did get some emails from people who said they couldn't be here tonight, wishing you well, so I'll just forward that to you. Look, here's Lawrence. Lawrence, Lawrence, you missed the whole meeting, but you're still in time to wish Bill
Congratulations,
a happy
Bill.
20th.
Congratulations.
Oh, there he is.
Perfect timing.
Hey, Julius. Hey, Julius.
He was probably on the golf course.
In this weather?